I think I've heard you say that you find that you personally would not get married, or you don't believe in getting married in this modern day.
Yeah.
I think that's a very fair and rational outlook. I still think that you deserve to get married one day, and it will be good if you're careful. You just have to vet.
Yeah.
You just have to vet properly.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah,
I
and
know,
married
but
men,
it's true.
they live
I think
4
you'll be
years
happier.
longer too.
I think you'll be happier if you find. I
It's
think
like
you'll
one
be,
more reason not to.
No, I think you'll be
Just a matchmaker.
happier. I don't know you, so I can't say. But I think you'd be happier if you had a woman that was your partner and like took care of all the stressful, tedious things at home, so you could do your job, whatever it is, whether it's this or whatever you end
Do I
up
need
doing.
to be married for that?
Not necessarily, but I think the chances are that a woman would do that for you, knowing that she is secured, like legally and also spiritually. By being married to you, I think the chances are better.
Well, I think if you
And I
found a
think
girl
that-
that did that for you, you'd want to.
Well, I'm just saying the
maybe
marrying
eventually take
type-
those married.
Nah.
Unfortunately,
I just think you'd be happier. That's my disagreement. but I don't know.
Unfortunately, women made it and fixed, rearrange everything, so men don't have to get married in order to live a good life. Unfortunately, I'm saying it. If it was back in the day, yes, but today men doesn't need to get married in order to live a good life. They can have kids, they can hire a nanny, live in nanny, whatever. Unfortunately, a lot of women scared men from getting married.
That's true. No, and I'm with you there. I completely agree. I think it's really rough out there. And another thing is I think that dating apps it's a small percentage, but I just don't think generally they're going to lead to true love.
Well,
I think that's
let's
a rough
start with
point.
let's do one thing at a time here. So let's go back to the marriage thing. So I can present to you kind of my reasonings for why I'm not thrilled on marriage, and so present to you my thoughts on marriage, divorce. But I actually think a better starting point, can you actually present to me compelling and convincing arguments why I or other men should get married, especially if we, and I'm hoping you don't make religious arguments on this, so as opposed to having a long-term monogamous relationship.
I just think there's something to be said for ceremony. I think there's something to be said for traditionalism and to leave religion out of it, because personally I would use that as something, but I get what you're saying. To generally suit most people, assuming people aren't religious, I think there is something to be said for the ritual of it and the commitment, the act of that commitment and dedication. I don't know, it's just...
So to be
It's
clear, men
beautiful.
should get married because of the ritual.
No. I said there's something to be said for the ritual of it
What
and the
is there to be
ceremony of
said?
it. I think it holds more weight. I think that if you ever got married, which you say it's not your thing, that's
What do you
fine.
mean it holds more weight?
I think that when you're married, I mean, I'm married myself. The connection between you two energetically is different. And I'm not like no offense, I'm not a woo-woo like energy astrology girl personally, but I just do think it feels different, and I think that I think human beings are feelings and our emotions. I'm not saying to make decisions irrationally based on your emotions, but I think that what else do we have in this world? Like, how we feel internally, that connection becomes deeper.
Sure.
It doesn't guarantee anything, but I just think there's something to be said for creating more depth to something.
So what if I just tell you I'm not compelled by this? Can you give me anything else?
Yeah, I can say you have free will and you can do whatever you want.
Can I try, Brian?
Okay.
Well, hold on. I want to give her an opportunity here.
Yeah.
So I personally just reject that I would have a greater connection with a woman if we went through with the tradition or ritual. So, yeah. And I know, there is an expectation, not from some women, not all women, that you spend X amount on the wedding ring, and then, people will spend 5 figures, up to 6 figures on the ceremony. So on that front, we're actually down financially.
You can do a courthouse marriage.
Well, there's actually been a rise, even in wealthy couples. Now, do I have stats for this? No, but I've heard about it, that even wealthy people are starting to elope more versus spending tons on a ceremony.
Well, I don't really care what other people are doing.
Right.
I'd like to actually hear reasons for why men ought to get married.
Well, for me, that's what it is. I think they ought to, because I think that there is more of a weight to it. And I think
More of a weight.
more of a weight to
And this
standing up
weight
and
achieves-
promising somebody.
But But so let's say the divorce rate is 50. It's clear that it's not particularly effective
Yeah.
No,
in,
I get
in
that.
keeping people together.
I get that. Just like there's a lot of things where in modern society it's not working, but it ought to. It ought to, but people's mindsets are not right.
Let me ask you a question. So let's assume I'm the perfect husband. Treat my wife well, and she just isn't happy anymore. But there's no abuse. I'm
Yeah.
treating her well. She's just not happy.
Women-
Vaguely not happy.
Can-
Is that pretext for a divorce?
No, I think
No,
that
no. Hold on.
Oh,
In your worldview, you might think that that's not justification, but could she, under the pretext of being vaguely not happy, despite there being no abuse in the relationship, I'm providing, everything's going well, treating the kids well, how she feels, her being not happy, is that enough for her to just go and get a divorce?
are you asking me if I think it should be a legal reason, or are you asking me if I think she should just have the right to
Does
do
she
that?
have the capacity to get a divorce?
Of course, anybody has the right and the capacity. I do not think they should.
Anyone can get a divorce for essentially any
Right,
reason.
right.
Exactly.
I'm confused. Are you asking me if I think it's okay for her to do so because of how she feels? Because the answer would be no to that.
Right. So, but I mean, there's nothing really binding you into a commitment. And there's
Yeah,
a
right. So,
there's
for instance, if he's talking weight, like he's talking the weight, right? This is kind of your argument. Brings more weight to the relationship. Wouldn't a prenuptial agreement also bring more weight to the relationship?
I have nothing against a prenup. I understand that people feel a little bit hurt and
No.
offended by
I
that.
know you have nothing against it. But if the argument for something is that it brings more weight because it makes the commitment more solid, wouldn't a prenup then make a relationship more solid just by the nature that it adds more weight to the relationship?
Are you-
more of a commitment?
A prenup in a marriage.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
So then men ought to get prenups?
If they want
Yes,
to.
of course.
No, I
No,
think,
no, not if they, hang on. Then they should only get married if they want to.
Right. I don't believe in forcing anyone to get married.
So then Brian ought to only get married if he wants to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then
exactly.
what's
Yeah,
the,
we're all
so then
just
the
holding
argument
to
that
what I
Brian
say.
should get married is that
Can
there's
I
no
say
argument that he
something?
should?
It's
No,
just
no,
a
no.
He should just do it if he wants to? I don't understand this.
You can respond.
Yeah, no, to answer what I think you're asking is that I think that it's worth it to not completely close your mind off to the idea of it and to pursue people with that intention of seriousness, whether you want marriage or not. But I just think saying absolutely no, like I said, free will, do what you want, it doesn't affect me. I just think that ultimately does bring a higher sense of satisfaction to people's lives. Marriage
But
does.
what would the actual difference be? So let's say I'm in a monogamous long-term relationship with a girl. What is the actual difference?
Commitment and the.
I am committed to her.
Okay, but it proves it.
But
There's
can-
a proof.
what?
I
No,
honestly
it's-
think that when you come at or what we might hear, if we hear, oh, but I never want to get married, is, oh, I don't want something serious. It's hard for me to picture myself married because I grew up in a single parent household, and I'm very much like I want to be secure and I want to be financially stable before I enter into something like that. For the reasons that you mentioned, someone could in a relationship just be like, this is not working for me anymore.
Can I say something?
But I'm really confused on this point, though. I'm sorry. Coming back to. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. Red shirt. What did you say your name was?
Michaela.
Okay, Michaela. I'm sorry.
It's
Okay,
okay.
I won't forget again.
It's okay, Plaid. I don't mind.
Yeah. Okay, so back to this idea of that. Well, this proves it. The marriage proves that you care, that you love me, this and that. Then wouldn't you staying with him absent this commitment prove that you loved him and all of that? So wouldn't that prove it the other direction? If he said, well, I don't want to do this thing, you said, but I do want to do this thing.
Yeah.
You say, but that proves to me, if you do this thing, that you love me. And he says, but it proves to me that if you don't make me do this thing, that you love me.
Then I think in that situation, you just have to make your choice. That's fine. I
Yeah.
think that if you're with a man you deeply and truly love him, he says no marriage. I mean, you're better off being with him. I do think that. Being with him than not, let me be clear. But I do think that, I just think there's something to be said about actually the ceremony of getting married. I know a lot of people get married and they shouldn't, and that's too bad, but it doesn't negate in my worldview, because we're talking about my worldview, doesn't negate the importance.
Can I ask you
of
a
it.
question about the ceremony? So
Yeah.
you're married. You've been married for 4 years.
Correct.
How much did you guys spend on the ceremony?
$100.
Oh, so you didn't have a ceremony then?
I had a ceremony. I did. I had it in.
It's like family friend, like small group family friends.
I knew someone that had a place that I could use. It was an outdoor place. It was during
Wait, so
COVID.
there was no music, there was no catering, there was no.
There was music, but we had a speaker and we had for YouTube Premium,
Okay.
no ads, you know. But yeah, no, I spent $100. It was just on my dress, and it's a dress that I can rewear. I understand a lot of people like,
Oh,
and it was very elegant,
wait,
by the way.
Just to clarify,
Right.
I'm including. You mentioned like you paid $100 on the dress.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about your cost? I'm talking about the total, like.
No, I get your question.
Okay.
Including-
So it is
No, no.
100 total.
Total, yeah,
So
because
it's
I
not like the husband paid
because
for the
I
whole
networked with
everything.
friends and family, and I found a way to set it up without
Mm-hmm.
spending any money besides my dress, which I just didn't
Okay.
have a white dress, so I needed one.
No food.
No, we didn't have anything.
Nothing.
No, let's be
it's
clear though.
theoretical.
Let's be clear.
License
This is the. Oh well, I mean marriage certificate. However much that cost.
Okay.
I don't know how much that cost. I didn't order it, but to be clear, this was in 2020. So without saying the buzzword, that was during the time when we couldn't have gatherings and stuff. But I was grateful for it, and I didn't want to have a big thing anyway. But I understand if people do, it's fine. It's just not for me. I don't want to start a marriage off in debt. It's not my interest personally. I think that will harm the marriage.
This just came to my mind. I haven't really parsed the argument very well, but so I mean, do a lot of women look to men to be providers?
Yes.
Yes, and I haven't really totally parsed this, but it just so wouldn't a woman, like if she's looking to me to be a provider, and that's one of the attractive traits that she sees in a male partner is to be a provider, wouldn't she be more likely to stay committed to me if we were not
course.
married? Because if we are married, and for whatever reason the relationship's on the rocks, for whatever reason, she now has actually a financial incentive to leave me. Whereas if we don't have a marriage, that's been, it's been 10 years we've been married, she can continue to receive my provisioning after a divorce. Whereas if she's with me and we're not in a relationship, wait, I'm making it. This is a terrible argument. This is actually a bad argument.
Actually,
It's
actually, yeah.
This
we-
might be
we
a
get
bad
what you're
argument,
saying.
actually.
No, we get what you're
No,
saying.
it's a valid argument.
It's just that provision doesn't. It's not like, just to be clear, it's not solely financial. It's protection. It's the expectation of protection. So I get what you're saying. Your fears are not invalid. I'm just saying I still think it's worth it.
Can I
Okay.
add something?
I appreciate hearing you out. Not convinced, but go ahead.
That's okay.
Okay, so it's few angles to look at it. First of all, it's the legal aspect.
Yeah.
Right? Second of all, I think if you look at the marriage back in the 50s, when the woman was most, sitting at home and raising the kids and giving attention to the kids and to the husband and cooking and everything, it was different. Today, after how the world looked like with marriages, that it's just an opportunity to both sides, a lot of the divorced women married with a single man that never been married and supporting them, or younger women married with older men. A lot of the marriage, it's not what it used to be back in the 50s, right? People not going to marriage because, oh my God, I'm in love, I can't live without him, I love him, I would die for my man. Because this is how it's supposed to be. If you love your man, women physically built different than a man. Physically, I know it's hard to women to hear, but men built to be with more than one woman. And women built to be with one man. Even literally with our DNA. When we take every man in us, he stays with us forever. And men, when they have sex, they get it out of their system, right? So they can spread it to a lot of women, sorry. So physically, it's completely different. So when you marry today and you treat your man like he owes you something, and you don't do your duty as a woman, like give him love, protect him, respect him, raise the kids, want to give the best to your kids that you have with him, treat him like your king, because literally when you get into a serious relationship and you really want to live with this man for the rest of your life.
Can you land the plane? Land the plane, please.
Sorry, what does that mean?
10 seconds, 10, 20 seconds.
Sorry. So, do you want me to stop?
No, you finish your
Okay.
point.
So my point is, if you're not marrying someone, so he could be your king and you would be his queen, and you build something together for the rest of your life, there's no point getting married. And with all the women we see today, they're doing OnlyFans and doing whatever they want, so they don't really care about the relationship. The relationship, it's lasts. So why would the men get married? They have so many options not to get married, and they're afraid, and I can understand that.
Okay.
No, I can totally understand. If
Yeah.
I was a man, to be honest, I would not get married, because
Okay,
I
yeah.
can eat the cake and.
You wanted to go? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to give you like 3 reasons why you should be married. Okay, so the first one, if we look at the financial, right? So how much money you are spending on going out and everything else, according
By
to
the way,
women.
can I just real quick? Can I address these point by point as you bring them up? Because I think I know all 3 of the points, but can I just go? Can we go one point? at a time?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start with the first one, the financials.
Yeah, so man, when he is dating, he's spending lots of money, and he is actually the time and resources chasing women and so on. No, it's the first point. Hold on. Now, when you're committed
Hang
to
on,
one
one
woman,
point at a time.
that's one
point at
point.
a
That's the
time.
first one. I didn't finish yet. Hold on.
Okay, no problem.
When man is committed to one woman, all of the resources are staying in the family, in that relationship. A ton of time is being saved, which a man can invest into working or, and so on. So this is the first point. So we'll look at the
Okay, so
financial.
let's
You
look
want
at the
to
first
address. Let's go.
On average, how much more are married men making than single men?
Statistically, married men are making between 30 to 40% more than single men.
I don't think it's quite that high, but even hang on.
It is
Let's
more.
assume for a second that it is. Their expenses are also 30 to 40% higher when they're married with children. So the thing is that it's a really strange argument to say that, wait, if you're married, you're going to make more money, because if you're single, you're not going to need to make as much money,
Hey,
right?
I
So
didn't
the thing
say-
is that, hang on. So let me finish. So if your earning potential suddenly rises to meet the demand of the family because now you must make that much money, I'm not really sure that that's a compelling argument for a single man who says, but absent a family, I don't need to make that kind of money. So it seems like a wash to me.
Well, my point was not about men making more money. My point was about men actually saving lots of time on chasing women, trying to find a partner, and spending money on the dates
but
or
let's say they're
taking
not
them
trying to
out
find a
or
partner.
traveling and so on.
Wait, hang on. That makes no sense. So because Brian's saying, why should I get married? You're saying, well, one of the reasons is because financially, you can then focus the vast majority of your money on your family. Oh, well, that's great. And you'll even make
And
a little
time.
more money. Well, that's great too. But the problem you run into is, but if I have no family, I don't need to make as much money. So who cares?
Okay.
Right? That seems like a pretty glaring problem, right?
Now, second point, right? It's
All right.
kind of connected to that. So again, statistically, it had been proven that men who are married and who have kids, they are more motivated to make more money, and it just wakes up man in him, that he is able to step up, he is able to reach his fullest potential as a man.
Depends which woman you have
Hang
beside
on. Before you characterize it as meeting their full potential, right? Perhaps their full potential is to be a poet, or perhaps their full potential is to do something that doesn't earn a lot of money, and that is unlocking their full potential, right?
It depends
Why should we
which
assume that just because, well, they make more money because they need to, or they
We're
can't
talking
support
about
their
Brian.
family, their kids will starve if they don't work an additional 20 hours per week, right?
Yeah.
Why should we assume that that's unlocking their full potential exactly?
Well, we are talking about bringing the points for Brian, right? So my
Yeah, for Brian. I'm saying for Brian.
right.
Like, why should we assume that because now Brian has to work 20 more hours a week, thus he does make more money, but he
wouldn't-
has to make that money so he can raise the family? I don't understand how that's unlocking Brian's potential.
I'm not saying that he's going to be working 20 more hours per week or whatever. It will just activate the resources in his life through.
But he would
think
have to
will
work
drive
if
a
you have more
motivation.
kids.
But hold on.
Wait, what do you mean activate where do you think these resources in his
He
life
would
are
have
going to
to
come
work
from?
more.
Are they going to magic themselves out of thin air, or is he
Kids
going to
cost
have
a lot
to
of
work
money.
for them?
Of course, he has to work for them.
Wait, but hold
Okay,
on.
so then if he's making
But
more
men is more-
resources, my assumption is going to be that he's doing more work right?
Exactly.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, but hold on. So, okay.
Well, I think
So-
necessary. I think
I
it
wanna-
follows
I wanna
pretty
add
well,
something.
right?
Yeah, but so hold on.
More work, more resources.
Again, but